All right, so I learned for the first time about Stable Diffusion today, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the paintings or the images I was able to generate using Stable Diffusion. I don't know much about the software because I just learned about it a couple of hours ago myself, but I tested it out. I started off very simple to generate a couple of images that look something like this, but then I got progressively more and more sophisticated with the questions that I was asking it. And the images started to get a little bit better. So I'll give you a full walkthrough of the types of prompts that I put in and what it is that the system actually generated for us. Throughout this talk, you'll see the following words that I started to use. And so some of these words are just words that came to mind. And this guy right here is a famous Polish painter. This is a painting style, painter, and then just primary colors that I just kind of threw in. So let me walk you through, okay? So when I first started off using using this tool here, I started off with a very simple prompt, right? I essentially just went in there and I said, typed in artistic brain, and it generated these 4 images for me, right? So you have the first one here that has, some very vibrant colors. Looks like it's a nice little art piece here and it looks like it has some Arabic script. I don't think it's real Arabic script, that it's kind of reminiscent of Arabic script, and it has some I don't even know what these would be, but I kind of like the colors in the image here. Next one is generated looks something like that. Is generated that and that. So all 4 of these were basically when I typed in artistic brain. Then I added the word expanded to this, and I ran it again, and I said artistic brain expanded. And when you enter in your prompt, it actually generates 4 images. I just kind of separated them out here so we can take a closer look. But on the artistic brain expanded, it basically just spit out whatever it thought it is that I'm looking for, I guess. All of these have a picture of a brain, kind of something that looks like a brain inside of a person's head. So if you take a closer look at a couple of these, it's what the first one looks like. Here's the second one, third one, kind of like this one too, and the fourth one. Then what I started to do was to add in words like realistic and ethereal, and I guess those are probably the opposite of each other, but I wanted to just throw them in to see what it would return. And you can see that it's basically trying to figure out how to blend those two like opposing concepts together, right? If something is ethereal, it's usually not very realistic, right? Those are like 2 completely different aesthetics when it comes to art, but tried to blend them together. The brain looks a little bit more realistic, but it has some ethereal aspects to it when it comes to the backgrounds, especially this one right here. I think did I expand these ones? Yeah, so let's take a look at these ones a little bit more closely here. So we got the first one here of a brain that looks a lot more like a realistic brain, a little bit more than the other ones, but the rest of the image doesn't. This one really doesn't look like a realistic brain at all, but like I would say probably much more ethereal. This one looks like something that you would see maybe in a clinic in the mid-1990s. This one here is just, this one looks a little bit like a pig that is having a bit of a trip. So there's that one. And then so what I did was kind of switch gears a little bit. And I put in the words, essentially the prompt. I put in the prompt, evolved, intelligent mind, ethereal primary colors only. And with that longer prompt, started to generate some interesting looking images, I have to say. So primary colors here are basically, you can see that it's a lot more vivid because it's using the primary colors, but all of them have kind of like a very similar feel just because of the color palette that it's using here. So we got this as the first one. Here's the second one. Kind of like that one. I really like this one here. And then the third and the fourth ones here. And I don't know if that's real script. No, that's not real script either. So that's what it generated with this type of a prompt here. Now, what I started to do after this is that this is after these 3 tries, essentially, you'll see that the paintings or the images that it's generating start to look significantly differently. And the reason for that is that in the first set here, I didn't really ask it to do the painting in any kind of style. But starting with this one here, I started to add in the phrase "in the style of" and the painter's names, and I think it's pronounced. I don't want to get it wrong, but it's Zdzislaw Bekshinsky, I think is how it's pronounced. I first learned about this artist from a YouTube channel called In Praise of Shadows. Excellent channel, and this video is actually really, really great. I'd highly recommend it. But I first learned about this painter, about this artist in a video called The Nightmare Artist. And again, really, really great video. But watching that video will give you a really good idea of his aesthetic and the kind of some of the themes that he covers in his paintings. And if you start to understand what the artist's style is all about and what the content of his paintings are about, a lot of what Stable Diffusion starts to produce here will start to make a lot of sense. So you'll see that I said, show me a picture of an enlightened monk in the style of Bekshinsky, and style immediately changed. Started to see, and if you see, like I said, a lot of his paintings, you'll see that this is really kind of that aesthetic. So I generated it once, and it gave me this set of images. And then I think I ran it with I said, but more ethereal. So I added the word ethereal in there. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's really making a huge change between them, because his paintings, I think, kind of have that quality to begin with. So it really doesn't do a whole lot, but I really like a lot of the work that it's coming up with here. Then I moved on here. Let's take a look. I moved on and I said, the enlightened monk in the style of Bekshinsky, but more ethereal. And I think I captured this, but it was more, I can't remember what I put in there. Actually, I should have captured that. My apologies for that. But again, this is another set that it generated for me. What did I say there? But more, I can't remember. And so that is the set that it produced for me there. Switch gears a little bit more, and I said, give me a close-up of a war-torn soldier in that same style. And this is really like, I tried to choose a theme that would fit the artist's paintings, because a lot of what Bekshinsky actually paints about probably stems from the outcomes of World War II. And so if you look at a lot of his paintings, you'll see that there's the war theme is like very heavy in the work that he produces. So I wanted to kind of choose a subject that would be in the style of the artist to see if it starts producing something that looks a lot closer to what Bekshinsky does, and it actually did. So if you look at the artist, you'll notice that a lot of his paintings are kind of reminiscent of the style that you're seeing here. It's dark, but I think dark, very detailed, close-up of war-torn soldier, but more ethereal, right? So I tried that again with the war-torn soldier, some of the paintings that it generated for me. And then I went back up to the enlightened monk, close-up of an enlightened monk in the style of Bekshinsky, but more ethereal. And this time, instead of, it did start to actually give me some close-ups of a Buddhist monk. And let's see what else we got over here. Close-up of a monk but more ethereal. Yeah. So I generated this one twice. It was the exact same thing, and I just regenerated it, and it essentially produced the set of 8 images for that same prompt that I put into it. So that's what it put out. And then in this set, what I started to do was I started to give it very specific colors. So I said, only include, let's take a look at the prompt here. I was trying to get it to actually generate plus and minus signs in the paintings, just as a kind of like a random thing that I chose. So I just try to make it as abstract as I could possibly think of. And so I asked it to do blue plus signs and pink minus signs flowing out of the mind of a human like a river. And it didn't describe at all what I was looking for, but it but what it did produce, I actually still liked quite a bit here. So these are what it produced using that. This one actually has a bit of a river in it. Then we went, I tried to do plus the actual symbol itself instead of writing the word plus signs, but it still kind of stayed true to the color palette, and it just produced, I guess, whatever it thinks it is that I was looking for. Really like this one right here. Quite nice, especially if you have specific colors that you really like and you just kind of give it to it and it'll produce it. I don't know if I kept a prompt for this one. I don't think I did, but I think I might have just rerun that one there to see if it would, yeah, I think I did. I reran this one here to see if it would produce the results I was looking for. It didn't, so I completely switched gears again, and I said, and I just tried to go as crazy off the wall as I could of a thing that I could think of. And so I asked it the question, and I don't have the full one there, but I said, what math would look like to someone who took LSD in the style of Beksinski in vivid blue and pink? So the vivid blue and pink wasn't in this one, but it was in this one. So this one essentially is what would math look like to someone who took LSD in Beksinski's style? And apparently it thinks that this resembles math in some way. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but I just wanted to see how I just try to think of the most abstract statement that I could think of to get it to see what it would do. And here are the results. And for this one, for some reason, it generated only 3 images. Maybe it just got a little bit confused and said, oh, maybe, it did its best, but kind of ran out of fuel 3/4 the way through. But that's the other one that it produced. And then this is the one where I asked the same question, but I said pink and blue only, and blended it together, and it produced these images here. Zoom into this one a little bit more so you can see that one there. And then I think for the last couple of ones, I switched gears again, and I started to give it like a style, right? A movement of painters who, like Cubism, I guess is in the painting world, they call it a movement. Here, I actually copied this. Cubism is an early 20th century avant-garde art movement that revolutionized European painting and sculptures. So that is what I asked it to do. And I said, the evolution of mankind in the style of Cubism. Again, like totally abstract. And it produced some pretty nice results, actually. I like the style quite a bit. And some very interesting images here that it produced. Then what I did was, I think that I go in with Picasso. Oh, maybe I didn't do full on Picasso. So I think Picasso is of this movement. So I didn't actually put his name in there, but that's what it produced. And then I totally switched styles and artists. And I said, give me a robot in a suit of armor in ethereal blue and pink, and in the style of Vincent van Gogh. And it looks like it kind of ran with the Vincent van Gogh thing, and used, I guess he has a self-portrait, and so they've basically just used his, it's probably one of his most famous paintings outside of like the sunflower, and they used that as kind of the basis for this. This one looks a lot more like a robot, but this one right here, I think, is the one that probably most closely resembles what I had in mind when I asked it for that picture. So, and this one, I think it did quite a good job. I really like this one here. This one doesn't look enough like a robot. This one looks like, I mean, it doesn't look enough like a robot at all. This one looks too much like a robot. So, so that was that result. And I think I just ran the same thing again. Yeah. So I ran the same thing again, and maybe I thought I was looking for something ultra robotic. So I just started producing very robotic images for me. And again, the style here is very like Starry Night type of, Starry Night is the name of another one of his paintings. Kind of has started to blend a lot of that into these results. And then in this one, I think I said in the style of Vincent van Gogh, yeah, I ran it 3 times to see what it would produce, and it started producing a little bit more close-ups and a lot more robotic images. So this last set I really like a lot. And so if you don't know what Vincent van Gogh's paintings look like, these are his self-portraits that he's done. That's the Starry Night one there, just to give you an idea. So again, I didn't know much about this tool. I just kind of learned about it, but my intention here is really to start to learn how to use this to produce the kind of results that I'm looking for. So this was really just kind of my first kick at the can, and I wanted to just share the results of this. And this is kind of like our baseline of where we're starting with this tool, and we'll see how it all starts to develop as I learn how to start asking it for what I really want. So I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope you learned something from this. If not, at least hopefully you just learned that the tool actually exists. And I'll show you that the URL of the tool is actually right here. And I'll put this in the description as well if you haven't heard of this tool at all yet. It's called StableDiffusionWeb.com. And the site looks something like this. Essentially what you do is you go here, and I think you find the playground, and you can just type in whatever you want essentially. So I'll type in, I don't know, a toad having a drink by the beach in the style of Vincent van Gogh. And so you just type in whatever you want, and it takes a couple of seconds for it. Looks like it's in the queue. It'll go through and generate an image. I'm kind of interested to see what this actually looks like. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Kind of interested to see what we get here. And earlier it wasn't taking this long, so it looks like the queue for this is really long right now. But I haven't tried this negative prompt thing. I just saw that right now as we were looking at this. So maybe in the next round I'll give that a shot. And all right. Wow. Okay. Having a drink by the beach in the style of Vincent van Gogh. All right. Well, he gave us something. This one right here looks like he's having a good time. So, all right. Well, that's what it is. Just wanted to share those results, and hopefully I can use this tool to actually. My goal is really just to figure out how to master the tool to get a lot closer to the results that I actually want from it. And so I'm going to keep on trying, and I'll keep on making videos to share this stuff. So I'll leave this one here.